everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube. Welcome back if this is your third The Rookie Season 5 episode review for you today. We're here for another week. It's been, I apologize, it's been a very hectic weekend. I said this more in last week's episode review that I just came off a very lengthy New York Comic Con weekend. Today was a restful day, thankfully, so I'm a little bit more energetic. Had I went on the Sunday slot, I'd probably be dead as a kite right now. But no, I'm good to go. And honestly, this episode, like towards the end, it really rammed me up. It really got me going. And I'm just like, oh man, like when we got to the end and then we saw the promo for the next episode, like, oh boy, we are eating good tonight, everyone. But we'll talk more about that in a minute. But for now, as of this episode, it's like a new beginning. Well, it's kind of like a new beginning. I say that almost every other season where I said this is a new beginning or this is a new start, and honestly this definitely does. We got a little bit of a time jump, I can say that confidently, and it benefits everything. This is going into like kind of new, veering into some different territory a little bit. It's still the same rookie we know and love, but it feels different. The ironically, I'm going to say the aura feels a little bit, it's still the same rookie we love, but it's a little bit different. And honestly, it's appropriate for shows the longer they go to do that, to allow them to, eventually kind of, have like soft reset mode where like it's still the same core. The core is still there. It's just going to look a little different. And honestly, right now, I'm just loving it. We're seeing all these we're seeing something new. It's only teases to what's to come. And that's what I love about this show. I really, really enjoyed this episode, and I can't wait to talk about it. So let's go through the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of The Rookie. So we pick up 1 month later. It's been a whole month since the events of last week's episode, and some things have changed a little bit. Well, first of all, Nolan's riding solo again. He pulls over a car who's speeding a little bit. He goes up to the front to see there's no driver in there, just a little kid in the front. And honestly, I felt like, are we gonna just have a random kid driving the car joke? I'm like, I'll be fine with that. But no, apparently it's a driverless car, which are becoming more and more common as we develop through the years. And she said, like, well, my dad got busy, so he decided to send one of his test cars to drive me to school. Which I'm like, wait, hold on. First of all, your dad just had a test driverless car in his possession. Also, it's in testing, so you let your daughter go by herself in a car that's still being tested. I don't know the analogies of that, to be honest with you, in terms of being a parent, but then again, I'm not a parent, so I really don't know what to say. But I don't think that's correct, to be honest with you. And no one's just confused, like, who do I write the ticket to? Like, technically, it should be to the drivers of the car, but, there is no driver, and you're here, so I should give you the ticket, but you're just a little girl, and you really can't get a ticket, so no one's just, like, flabbergasted, like, it's the cost of being old. Like a blonde anime character once said, the future is now thanks to science. And Nolan is not about that life. It's not about that life. Meanwhile, over back at Lucy's apartment, she's back. Undercover school's over for her. I'm assuming she passed. She completed it. Chris and Tamara are there to greet her, to give her like, congratulations, you did this. And Tamara instantly left because she's got classes to do. Chris is there to kind of update her a little bit on his progress. His wrists are now fully healed in terms of the wounds, but it takes a little bit of time for the senses, the nerves to come back a little bit. So he's still recovering. He's still in the recovery state, but he's back in work, trying to keep his mind off not binge watching TV, which honestly, again, I'm scared to be admitting this. Like, at some point, COVID will be the new cold, the new flu. Like, eventually, everyone will get it at least once in their lifetime. I'm very confident that at some point I will get COVID. I mean, I still have the vaccine, and, I will get the boosters as necessary. I'll get whatever it's needed. But eventually, it's kind of unavoidable. Like, I will get COVID at some point. So having those 2 weeks or 1 week, whatever they want to get, my company wants to give me, like, I'll be down to just sit down on my couch and just catch up on some show. I'm watching an anime right now, so I'm like, I have a lot of episodes to catch up on. But anyway, Chris decided to also use this time to kind of hunt down Rosalind, since he got messaged by some online peoples, which I'm like, okay, that isn't not going to go so well. And, at first he thought it was a bunch of malarkey, that it's just a bunch of, online, trolls that are just wanting to get some sort of firsthand evidence look in by an actual victim of hers. And, he's like, he doesn't at first entertain the idea, but eventually he starts looking into it a little bit more. He's like, okay, there's some factual evidence here. Why does a bunch of random, like, authority figures have online personas just to talk about this case? It's kind of weird in my opinion, but you know what? It's 2020, well, 2021 at their timeline. So I'm assuming anything's possible. What are we? Yeah, so he starts looking into it, and he eventually gains access to the mother doc, which is apparently a PDF file that has all their current, evidence and, speculation and like everything to collaborate where Rosalind could be at this moment. Chen at first dismisses the idea, like, right now he shouldn't be worrying about that. He should be focusing on his recovery, going back to work, and of course trying to be a good boy. Oh, what was that? I'm sorry. She's just trying to advise him, like, this isn't your focus, but he's like, you know what? At least take a look at it. Like, I know you're not a detective or anything, but, you have, like, you're a cop, so get your perspective on it. If it's something worth exploring, that's great. If it's not, then okay, we'll move past it. We'll move on with our lives. So she decides to do that. We head over back to the station where Nolan's about to begin his first day as a field training officer. This is the moment he's been waiting for since season 3. So it's a big moment for him. Like, again, remember, like, just this time, like, for us 6 months ago, for him, like a couple months ago, he was already accepting the idea that he was not going to be in that position until maybe 2 years from now. And now he's here. Like, all the odds said, fuck you, I'm here right now, I'm ready to get going. And he's a little nervous, he's a little bit, not certain in how this is going to go because, it's so much has happened so fast that, it could instantly stop at any moment. And, Grace says it best, like, and it also is what the showrunner said, like, a couple of seasons ago that, yeah, for a little while you were a P2, you weren't a rookie anymore, but now you're a full-time training officer, and you're technically, this is your first go around, like, training a rookie from start to finish. Like, you are a rookie again. And I'm like, oh god, are we gonna get the old rookie jokes again? And I'm like, I would miss those. And even though it's like, oh, please don't tell me we're gonna start those up again, but he's not. He just throws away his little note sheet and they head over to the bullpen to start their meeting. All congratulations are in order that Chen has passed undercover school, and Nolan's now officially the only TO training officer left in the station, which honestly is surprising because, like, I'm pretty sure if Nolan didn't get promoted, I'm pretty sure someone had to step up, because if Bradford is no longer training and now Harper is officially on full-time detective duty, Nolan, like, whatever grudges that commissioner or, union leader or whoever the hell that person was who tried to fuck with Nolan last year, if it was, they would have needed someone because, new rookies were always going to come for their station, so someone was needed. So he's there now, and also another thing, Aaron is officially now a P2. His training period is over. Again, a little bit, somber for Aaron. His training period for our lens on the show has been very different, since we never got to see him, like, do all the things our original rookies did, which, again, is understandable. There wasn't the manpower, or we just didn't need to repeat tropes again. Okay, if the rookie somehow makes it to 18 seasons, which I'm like, oh god, if that was just 18 seasons, I'll be in my 30s. I don't want to think about that right now. But regardless of the fact, you'll probably just redo everything, just start a whole new 3. I don't think they'll go that far, to be honest with you. I'm being that realistic. But anywho, even regardless of that, another big important piece of news is that after, I think, since Aaron, like, they've gotten a brand new rookie to start off. This is the beginning of her police career. Officer Juarez, played by Elizabeth Chavez. I keep pronouncing people's names wrong. I apologize again. She's not the first time I've seen her around. She's been, I think she was on, I forgot what show she was on. She was on another cop, law enforcement show. Then she was on DC's Legends of Tomorrow for the last 2 years, and now she's here on the rookie. So it's like, it's like nothing changed. Ironically, nothing has changed really as much with her character. A little bit, like, we'll talk more about that later, but she's there. High marks at the academy. Kind of sounds familiar. But however, like all new rookies have to go through, whatever you learn in the academy, throw that out the window. It does not matter on the streets. You will now start fresh in the experience. It was just meant to give you some sort of, like, idea of it. That idea is now also out the window. So this is honestly interesting. We knew about this for a while, like, in terms of, like, for many years, like, if Nolan wanted to be a training officer, he would be a rookie again, and he would have to train a new rookie. The fact we're getting this pretty soon is, it's pretty fast. Like, again, like Grace said earlier, like, it's been a very tumultuous 2 years for Nolan. Like, obviously 3 seasons on year 1 and then 1 season on year 2. A lot has happened to him, a lot. And, he's gone through so much experience that a lot of other veteran cops barely go through because, again, it's a TV show, so they dramatify things. But he's learned a lot. And, he is worthy to be up to the plate. But, like, being a teacher, we've only got to see a handful of that when he was training Aaron. Now here he is about to start day 1 on it. And also Chen's here to try to vibe in, because her and oh damn, I just remember the name of her. Juarez are both women cops, and like they're not that too long in like the experience field in terms of like the year. So it's like she ever needs some help or like some advice how to like handle being a rookie or a boot, then she's right there for her. So it's like again like everyone's on hands on. Even though Nolan is training her, at some point in this episode, almost everyone of our cast just like puts their hand in the honey pot that is, Juarez's, training experience and making sure she's part of like joining them, like joining their ranks. So they want her to like be up to their code, up to their standards. I think from that point onwards, Lucy congratulates Aaron on being a P2 finally, and Aaron's like extremely happy. He's ready to like actually get started on this. Lucy also, Aaron's like, it's been fun riding with Brad for the last few weeks. So, but like, since you're back, if you want to take over your spot again, I don't mind pairing up with anyone else. But Lucy's like, you know what? No, it's okay. I want to get some solo time, and obviously still reeling in from like her emotional split. It's sort of weird because like, again, I think this is like, I personally for me, I know people are gonna. I know you guys are gonna say shit. I think the Chen first stuff's gonna take a break. I know you guys had like a very entertaining, like in terms of the show, 3 episodes. I understand that you had your fun, but every episode this season cannot be about that. But it still felt like there's definitely still like an underlying we need to have a conversation about this. And right now they don't want to have that conversation. They don't want to like. Eventually it will pop up. We still have a whole season to go. It's gonna pop up at some point. It's unavoidable. However, you to be realistic here, it is something that they don't want to tackle on right now. It isn't. And Aaron being kind of like his go-to gopher is easy said than done. Like it's right there. Lucy could just ride solo, maybe ride with another random officer at times, and that's about it. They don't really need to like harp too much into this, which is totally fine in my opinion. It's totally fine. And Lucy even like is like debating like, should I just go up and talk to him about him now? But like no, Aaron's got his own thing to do, so they kind of sidelined there. Harper is back from maternity leave after a month. She's already showing Lopez the baby pictures, and again, this is a duo I can jive with, the detective duo on the team. I could jive with this. They're both mamas. They're both got fiery spirits, are raring to go on a new case. They're into a missing person case right now, so which Lopez has been stumped on for a while, but Harper's there to give like a fresh set of eyes, see what's something new she could discover with. Nolan's about to begin his training period with his officer, but it's a little bit different. She's a little bit more on the spiritual side. She granted Sage on the card to give them good luck, and Nolan instantly cannot handle the spell. He cannot. He's just like struggling over here to understand. But like even though Nolan is going to start being a little bit more stricter when he's around her, it's still the same Nolan we know and love. It's still like you still feel like his like wanting to talk about personal things or wanting to like get a little personal with your boot. He's still gonna be that way. It doesn't matter, but he's still gotta follow the guidelines of actually being like he is a superior now to her. Like he is her teacher. He has to like there has to be a certain balance there. So they start their patrol. They drive around, getting to talk about each other for a little bit. Juarez instantly pulls over a random person in a car on the street. Nolan's requesting like some information, like what's the probable cause and everything. She's not responding. All she says is like, I got a bad aura about this car, and I'm like, you sure you didn't transfer some of Spooner's energy into this role, Liz? I think this is the wrong show. But no, she said she got some bad juju on this car. The lady seems to be perfectly okay, like nothing really suspicious. Maybe a little scared of the police. That's just jitters, typical jitters. Nolan is scolding her a little bit for like not having a true probable cause, like just because you have a bad vibe and not like actual at least physical like visual proof that like you have some suspect on this, like we gotta let her go. Like we just gotta make sure she doesn't file a complaint after this. And she's like, no, like, can we at least check the trunk? Nolan looks down for a second. He finds blood. He opens the trunk, and there's like a massive blood stain on it. So, okay, it's like, okay, now cause for concern is here. Bradford and Aaron show up to go to go help them out with like the evidence collection. Bradford chews out Nolan for like letting already, not even like the first job completed, like already his rookie's already causing him trouble. You know that, you know, she shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have let her. And Nolan's like, apologize. Just the moment, you know, it got the best of us. And, you know, obviously Bradford has a point, you know, and also he's already chewing out Juarez because, you know, like, she's made a bad call. Like, you know, I mean, it could be a good call in the end, but right now it is a bad call. It is a bad stop. And, you know, that is going to like hurt in like, if this does go to trial, it's going to hurt. It's going to be admissible, which is like really bad. So, they collect the blood sample. They advise Nolan and Juarez to just go back to the station, just get that process done and like just stay off the streets for a while. Meanwhile, Aaron's got some issues going. Apparently Aaron's on a dating app. Who are we all? And he got catfish. Who are we all? And however, the guy has taken his photo and kind of photoshopped them on let's say on a model that isn't covered. Let's just say that. And at first, like, I love like Bradford's like, I don't want to get into your personal life, and he knows like Bradford's trying to change too. He's trying to be a little bit more open. He's like, okay, show me what's going on with you. It seems like he just needs, like, I feel like people are just gonna like really like, he misses Chen because Chen used to be all super personal in her life, and she always told Bradford everything, and then Bradford like has to help her unwillingly. It's like he just wants to carry that same energy. Like, I don't know, man. It just seemed like he just wants to change. That's all I want to say. So he's blackmailing Aaron, and all he wants Aaron to do is just give him a PS5, confirming that this is being set. And I want to say September of 2021, October of 2021, because, like, yeah, PS5, you can't really change the time period when that came out. Like, you can erase COVID and everything, but you can't really change the timeline period. So it's probably, like, 2021 about this point, which, like, okay, that's fair. That's a fair timeline period to assess to. What happened next? Yeah, so after that, Lucy's doing some solo calls. She finds a homeless person entering an abandoned building, so she just assumes this is a squatter's den, so she's about to break this up. She goes in, reports in her location. She finds in the ice box of this abandoned restaurant a bunch of wallets and bags on a little tray table. She goes to check, but the hobo locks her in the ice box. Thankfully, it's not like activated, so she's not freezing to death, but she definitely is, you know, kind of stuck here. So, but she knows that, okay, they're gonna do a wellness check. Someone's gonna check in on her, and, you know, that I'll be fine. So she decides to take this time to read the Roslyn file. She just discovers some very eye-opening, you know, thoughts. So she just like hopes to God someone hears her while, you know, she's just stuck in there for a while. Nolan's getting chewed out by Gray, also again by, like, you know, like, Nolan, right now you should be just following the script. Maybe if you're like a few rookies in it, maybe I would get you trying to be outside the box with your training, but right now it's just follow the script. Here's the script, you read it. And Nolan's like, you know, I apologize, like, if we got into the motion, I was just trying to like be unique, like you said before, but, like, you know, obviously this is his first time out the gate. You really just want to play it safe right now before you start like making some, you know, very choice calls. Yeah, I want to say, yeah, after that, Harper gets a call from someone saying that they got a match on their missing person via the blood that Nolan and Juarez got. However, they cannot use that as any sort of evidence because of Juarez's bad call. And immediately, even Harper shoots Nolan and her out, like, I did not train you to be like this, Nolan. Like, you know, I was your TO, and now you're the TO of this little girl, which makes me the superior TO to her. So y'all's development is on me. So, and I was like, don't forget about Bishop. She still trained him for 6 months. So I'm like, don't forget about her. So it's like, it's half you. Well, regardless of the case, moving on. So they're kind of miffed at them for, like, you know, kind of undermining this. Wesley just shows up too about just saying, like, yeah, it's because she made a bad call. Like, even though there's a match, you legally cannot use this evidence in court because it's admissible because it wasn't a proper chain of command. Which, it does suck, but it does happen. You know, like, some good cases are sadly ruined because of that. Like, legally, like, morality, we know they're guilty, but legally you can't prove them if that's their only piece of evidence, which kind of sucks. So right now, all they could do right now is try to get the grandson, who already the grandmother willingly admit that, yes, my grandson uses the car, so most likely he used the car to transport whatever the hell was bleeding with this vehicle, but they need some sort of like proof to at least give themselves some suspicious to approach them, arrest them, and then maybe get the trail there. But right now, they can't do squat, so they really don't have much of a choice there. So they're all in civilian clothes. They go stake him out. They're slowly following him, seeing if he does anything illegal. By the time Nolan and Juarez takes over the sightseeing, Juarez again, she just stares at the guy too long, and he gets suspicious. He starts running. They both start running too, and eventually, when Nolan tries to save Juarez from getting hit from a freaking garbage truck, I almost said something else. I apologize. Different show. He gets away, which bums them all out because that was legitimately their only lead. So the day's kind of over with the whole day is kind of over when Bradford notices that Chen hasn't really radioed in via the public feed. So he goes to check. He does the wellness check. They find her in the freezer box, and Chen immediately goes out swinging. He's like, I think I have a lead on Rosalind. I got this message board page, and it seemed like she was the one commenting on some of them. So she's already exploiting this master plan to try and find her down. So it's pretty funny how much she loves to play games with people. So yeah, that night, Juarez and Nolan got into it a little bit because there's so far Juarez is not making a good impression with anyone because she may have stumbled upon a big lead to find this missing person. The problem is that so far she's made mistakes, and again, even though it is her first day, in your probationary period, you can literally get fired for everything. I mean, remember, someone literally shot their gun in the middle of the bullpen, and he got fired right away. So it's anything could happen. Anything could legitimately happen, and that's something that everyone's going to have to kind of accept at some point. Yeah, so they have a little bit of an argument about that, because again, Nolan knows, he knows already about out-the-box thinking, having a unique perspective of things, but right now, since he is trying to play it safe a little bit, he's just trying to follow the script as well, trying to make sure she just follows the rules to just be a good cop, and she doesn't believe that. She gets a little bit more personal with her words, and then they just end up splitting for the night. Chen takes us over to the rookie feds team. Well, just Garza and Laura. Yeah, Laura. I got it. I remember. They call in Chris as well to tell them that so they looked at the master file, and so they are most likely going on the speculation that Rosalind is posing as one of these people that are contributing to this PDF. So, and also before finally this took a long while. For me, it was nice to get to see the rookie feds over on the main show. It just kind of felt like they weren't really getting the chance to return the favor, because it's just been rookie cameos over on the Fed show for the last 2 weeks. And again, not every week's going to be a crossover, but it was nice to see them actually appear on the rookie. And it's nice, it's all connected. It's all one big rookie verse. So I'm this is great. This was great to see. So yeah, now they're going to go in on this. They're going to do some trailing, do some tracking, seeing if this isn't any confirmation, because they also trace the IP address to an address all the way in Seattle. So they're going to stick a team out there and see if they can find anything about it. And, they'll call in them if they really need to. But this is great. This is great news to maybe try and find Rosalind, put her behind bars again. We cut to the next day. Juarez immediately apologized to Nolan about her, her words. And Nolan's I understand. I get that. It's it just seems I should, maybe with you specifically, with your superstitions and everything, maybe I should at least hear you out on your ideas before you actually act on them. You can still speak about them, but at least I have the chance to prove or deny her or anything. And she's oh, good, because I got this dream on some, not even a second. She's ready to go, which I love that about her. And so she had this a premonition dream where she was on a beach and she saw a big giant guy in a suit of armor, what a knight. So, and no one's is that just, what does that mean? So they're trying to figure this out. So they cross-reference everything with the grandson, and they found that he did a job at a location with a company that kind of is similar to what the idea of what Juarez is saying, and eventually they piece it together and what, there's an abandoned house nearby that area. Let's at least go check it out. At least under speculation, let's say that. I want to say, Yeah, so I forgot to say. So once I forgot, Aaron and Bradford and me. I keep jumping around with the storyline. Aaron and Bradford deliver the PS5 to the guy who turns out just to be like a 16, 15-year-old kid, like nothing really that's serious. And they decide to use this opportunity to like teach him a lesson, like you shouldn't do this. Like this is like really bad. You're setting a bad example for everyone else. So you're not gonna need this PS5. You're gonna stop what you're doing, otherwise we're gonna write you up. And he's like, okay, fine, fine, fine. And then Bradford just takes the PS5, and I love it. Like I love it because like Aaron was telling me like, hey, those are hard to find, and then Bradford returns the favor, was like, hey, it's hard to find. And it's like it's funny. It's pretty funny that he just takes a free PS5. I love him so much. But however, apparently leaked images of Bradford in his how do you get Bradford's shirtless photo? Like, okay, I'm pretty sure it's not, but it looks pretty on point. Let's be honest there. And Bradford's like, okay, I'm done with this kid. I'm gonna take him down no matter what. Oh yeah, I forgot. So Chen comes in and they got a hit. So like they just assume that it is Rosalind. So they're sending Chen out to Seattle with the Feds team. So I'm like, that's great. Again, keep the crossover going. Send Chen over to Seattle. So she sends up there, while Bradford and Aaron goes to chew out the kid, but they say, you know what? We're giving him a second chance. We'll drop the charge as long as you don't do shit for 18 months against us, and you're going to volunteer at the community center 2 times a week teaching a computer literacy class. Which again, I love, like, even though we haven't physically seen that community since season 3, I still like it that they, still reference it a little bit. They still reference it. So I'm like, okay, that's good. That's passable. I was just making sure I was wearing my red shirt and my blue shirt. Yeah, so I think that was it for everything else. So Nolan and Juarez check out the abandoned building. They look around. Juarez finds the missing person on the bed, tied up. So they go in. She's alive, thankfully. Nolan goes to check out the place, make sure that no one's around to attack them. The house is clear, but Juarez spots the grandson outside. Obviously worried that his cover's blown and everything, so he starts to run. Juarez goes after him. Nolan obviously blank spiff of what the hell's going on, like just looks around. He calls in the ambulance. So they're secured on the woman, and Nolan goes to find Juarez, who's still chasing down the guy. And she's like going, like she's like really running, like she's going for up hills and down hills and very uneven road, and she's still going, like she's got energy for days. She eventually loses him, catching him on brief points while she's like looking for him. She's just communicating to Nolan about her movements. Nolan's trying to find her. Eventually, they are able to pinpoint her via a electrical box sighting. However, when Juarez like puts down her gun to just at least maybe assume that okay, it's over. Maybe he got away. He attacks her. They get in a fight. And I gotta say, Juarez got some moves. Like he like if it wasn't for like a cheap shot, like she could have probably won that fight. And also the fact that she did just run basically half a mile or like more than a mile sprinting at full speed and still has some energy to like really fight. Like okay, I gotta give her credit. Like her endurance levels off the chain. However, the guy tries to steal the gun from her. She's just doing all these moves to kind of like make sure he backs away. But eventually he gets on top of her and like starts to choke her out. Nolan thankfully shows up in the nick of time, takes him down, and thankfully Juarez is saved, with little to no injuries. Yeah, so I think so they get back to the station, and because I think everything else is kind of wrapped up, to be honest with you. Oh no, I think that's it. Yeah, so Nolan heads back. He has a little final talk with Gray about just like the last few days have just been like a roller coaster. Like everything's going so fast, and he hasn't really been able to like have a basic moment just to tell Juarez, hey, this is how you should be doing things. Like he hasn't had a moment. And Gray's like, you know what? The analogy he's using for this type of like rookie pairing situation is that, yes, Juarez is young. She's got a lot of energy. She's got a lot of spirit. But if she's training with you, she'll eventually see like the benefits of what you do, your style of thing. She'll eventually adjust. It's going to take some time. It's not going to be easy, but it will happen eventually. So Nolan takes that as a little bit of a sigh of victory. He also decides on research purposes to understand Juarez better, does a full background check on her. It turns out when Juarez was 9 years old, her sister got kidnapped for 3 weeks. The cops were unable to like really do anything about it, but so her mom hired a psychic who was the one who found the sister somehow. So they got her back, and Juarez does not just use skills that the police would give you, but she uses mostly her intuition, which again, it makes sense, and no one understands that more. But of course, it's not just like, the superstition and all that. Like, he just assumes that, well, maybe you notice the blood and you just got the bad aura. Like, as your mind's way of communicating to you, there's a problem here. Or when you had your dream, sometimes like whatever you're thinking of before you go to bed is what you dream of, because it's what your subconscious is like has been thinking of. So it's like it kind of creates you in that world. So it is logical. What you're doing here is affecting that. So everything counts in your training and like going forward. Like they will have that communication, you know, at least to make sure to keep each other in check. Which is, again, Nolan is, you know, different. He definitely does not fall in one of the major categories. He is his own person. He's going to be his own Tio, and you know, Juarez is going to benefit from that, which is great news for all. To end up the episode, Chen heads back up with Seattle with Laura to check in with the Seattle FBI team, who's been watching the IP address of the house that she's been using, and it's just a married couple's house, but they haven't been seen for like a week. Eventually, all that suspicious enough to like go in, like burst in, trying to find Rosalind. No Rosalind, but the married couple that lives there is dead, and etched on the blood on the wall is like a blood, like, you know, better catch me next time. And it's like, you know, Rosalind's out there. She's begun her new game, and you know what is that new game? We're gonna have to find out next week. But until then, for now, that was it for this week's episode of The Rookie. I thought this episode was great. You know, I said this before the jump. I'll say it again. It was great. I think that, see, this is kind of like a soft reboot of a sense, like not a reboot, a soft revamp. You know, getting to see Nolan is now officially a rookie TO. We have Juarez, who's going to be our new rookie, or like our new mainline rookie. You know, seeing everything again with a new perspective with her lens. Bradford and Chen kind of like having to like get some separation between them, you know, trying to figure out what's what right now is smart. So getting to see Bradford paired up with another officer is like, it's going to build a new dynamic. It's going to build a new vibe. And like, you know, honestly, I'm all for it, to be honest with you. Same with Lopez and Harper, even though they kind of took a backseat this week most of the part, they're still taking control of the patrol team. So like, yeah, their presence is still felt. Same with Wesley, you know, Wesley's just like casually just walking into the PD right now. So he's gonna have more scenes with them, which is like, it's pretty sweet. It's like, again, it's a great time to be alive with the rookie nation right now. It's pretty great. Lucy battling on Rosalind, like taking her on again. I'm like, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting development, especially with our crossover event next week. Which, yes, you heard me right. We are officially getting our first the Rookie Feds crossover event next week. Now, again, I don't know what that entirely means. From my experience, it usually means we're gonna get it's gonna be a 2-part story that's gonna tell apart these two shows. So part 1 will probably be on the Rookie, and then part 2 you're gonna have to stick to on the Rookie Fed. It is a smart strategy, of course. Like, it's one continuous story. So if you want to see the conclusion of that story, you have to go watch the Rookie Feds episode on it to kind of wrap it up. Which, again, it can have some positives, it can have some benefits. I don't know how I'm going to market that for our show next week, so we're going to figure that out, how Rookie Fed sets up their end of it. Because timeline-wise, we don't know how things work, because, again, last week's episode of the Rookie Fed's kind of like, was in that weird placement of the timeline, but with next week, we're going to be in the same time period again. So we're going to see how that all works. We're obviously learning as we go, you know, first time in this Rookieverse, so we'll figure things out. But I'm hyped. I'm really hyped to kind of get to see like the full Rookie cast and the full Feds cast like interacting. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun episode next week. Obviously, we still have a regular episode of Feds this week. So again, trying to like get more of like our current team's dynamics, so we could see them interact with, you know, our mainline team again. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a very, very fun week next week. But for now, for this episode, I thought it was great. Another great episode for the Rookie, and I can't wait to see when. Probably after the crossover event next week, how we develop those relationships, how do we develop these characters, you know, in this new direction, this new heading they're in, like how do we develop that? And I can't wait to see all that turn out. Also, yes, we're 5 for 5. Smithy, another appearance, you know, putting up Bradford's poster, which I'm like, okay, Feds, you're up next. Are you gonna give us a Smithy cameo again? 6 for 6. You know, we gotta keep that trend going now. We gotta keep that trend going. But again, this has been so if you're unaware, this is I'm confused. I'm so excited now that I completely messed up my regular mole. I'm giving this episode 2 thumbs up. Thought it was great. Very much enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this week's episode of The Rookie? Let's start the conversation down below. I would love to hear your thoughts about it. And I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the 5th season of The Rookie. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two besides our Rookie episode reviews, we're currently doing the Rookie Feds episode reviews each and every week after Brandon says on Tuesday nights on ABC. We're also doing DC Stargirl episode reviews each and every week on Thursday after Brandon episode on Wednesday nights on the CW. We're also doing Walker episode reviews each and every week after Brandon episode on Thursday nights on the CW, and also Walker Independence episode reviews each and every week after Brandon episode on the CW also on Thursday night. If you don't care about the rookie, you're in luck. We'll be back next week for a brand new episode. It's crossover season time, baby, and I don't care about anything else. But we'll be back next week for that, so don't worry about that. But again, if you're unaware, this has been What's the Tube. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX videos. Ring that bell for notification when our next episode reviews live. Please also like, favorite, share if you want to. Please also follow us on social media to stay up to date with Instagram updates we may have for either of our channels. But until we see each other again, for all you Rookie Nation and Feds next week, we'll be back for the crossover. But until then, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.